Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Project channel here at YouTube. So I am here with another top 5 video. Yes, my second top 5 video. So for this one, this is the top 5, I guess, best modern thrash metal albums. Mostly though by modern thrash bands, or basically bands that were at least formed around since maybe the 2000s to present day. Now, I guess to say modern, it has to really be more recent ones, but the thing is, from the time that I was, growing, at least, by the time I was getting into thrash, so what was considered modern thrash for the time was basically the stuff that was, like the retro thrash type of stuff was basically considered modern thrash in a way. Of course, maybe stuff like, the classic bands, but for this video, we're not focusing on the classic bands. That'll be another video. But here, we're definitely going to be focusing on modern thrash bands. Or ones that were considered modern thrash bands, alright, basically that. So, however, let me definitely bring up some honorable mentions. Ones that could have been on this list, but I don't think are as, good, but when kind of speaking of some of these, genres, these are the ones I think that kind of fit that mold in a way. But let's definitely get to it. Of course, we're definitely get to a real, retro thrash band or so, and that's of course Merciless. Wow, that just happened. Can't hold shit. So basically, talking about is of course is Merciless Death with Realm of Terror. Much better album than their first time. Even though I like Evil in the Night, yes, I'm very guilty of that because of that seems to be an album that gets crapped on quite a bit in a way. I guess for some reasons, but I kind of like that album. But this one was definitely a much better album in a way. They definitely kind of tightened up their musicianship in a way, and even when it comes to the music, it's better. And Andy Torres singing was a lot more guttural in a way, kind of almost proto-death metal kind of. But this is definitely a much better album, though I think the production kind of robs the album a bit of what kind of asked for, which is a bit more that raw feel. Of course, on their third album, which was released back in 2015, if I am correct, was definitely more of a raw album, but I think it lacked sort of the originality, or not really originality, but it lacked what was at least present on this album. It just lacked at least a bit of that sort of, real sort of feel that I think that the sound really brought, and to me this is their best album, but I had to cut it from this list in a way, but it's definitely a solid album and a much better album by, Merciless Death. Another one, now technically this band always gets, brought up as either speed thrash or so. I could have put this band in here, really, I could have. This is, of course, was my #1 album for last year. That, of course, is Baphomet Is Blood with Satan We Trust. I could have added this album in here, really could have. But there just were other albums in here that I kind of liked, surprisingly a bit better, or ones that kind of fit the description of, modern thrash. But there's nothing bad about this album. I really like it. For me, I liked it very much to where it was, the #1 album of 2016 for me. But this is generally more considered speed metal in most sides, kind of black speed metal type of, but it has a lot of thrashiness to it, kind of very similar to At War in terms of the thrashiness, but there is some that Venom Motorhead feel to it, just like At War. But the lyrics could definitely turns off some in a way, and the way they are sung, whatever, it just turns off people. But I dug it. But surprisingly, wasn't enough to be put on the list. And another album that was also released last year that could have also made this, well, not technically thrash in a way, but is one that kind of fits a bit. And that's, of course, is Barbarian with Cult of the Empty Grave. Good album, but not technically as thrash, but it has some thrashiness to it in a way. But not enough to be put on the list, but it's definitely an honorable mention due to at least having it. But not enough to be, you know, well, hold some of these characteristics. And of course, another album right here that's playing in the background, of course, is No Return by Swedish thrash metal band Megalomaniac. Fucking good band, though. Really good band. And this sound is very much fucking great thrash. While there's definitely mostly a cassette copy, I downloaded this one off their Bandcamp page, which is surprisingly the price for it is a name your price, so you could definitely get downloaded for yourself and put on a disc if you wanted to. But this is a fucking good album no matter what. It's very similar to the kind of like Sepultura's Schizophrenia or Dark Angel. Just a fucking killer album. But surprisingly, didn't make this list because I didn't listen to the sound as much. But when I do put this album on, it's a fucking killer album. But surprisingly, not enough to put on this list because these are ones that I've at least, you know, I spent more time with. So let's definitely get into the actual list. So coming in at number 5, this was going to be my number 4 pick. But now what has been number 4 that was at number 5 got bumped up. So this is at number 5 right here. Of course, it's Toxic Holocaust. Evil Never Dies. Now these guys are definitely, just like with Merciless Death, were definitely one of the retro thrash bands. So the one that really kind of inspired the movement in a way. Next to, I guess, bands such as, oh god, what's Hypnasia. And though I could have picked, even Hell on Earth. I mean, I could have picked Hell on Earth though, instead of this album. But the thing is, I don't own Hell on Earth, but I have listened to that album quite a bit. And that was the album that turned me on to Toxic Holocaust in the first place. But Evil Never Dies is though a fucking good album as well. It's our first was Joel Grimes, first full-length album. Under the Toxic Holocaust moniker. I mean, but this is it's almost kind of black thrash way, but there's a lot of punk-infused stuff in here. It's almost crossover in a way, but it's not really as far as what I would consider crossover. It's a fucking great album, songs such as, the title track, War is Hell, Enemy of Jesus, Damned to Fire, Executioner, 666, Son of the Beast. The whole album, actually. The whole album is just, just a real killer thrash album. Just real raw, in a way. But not too raw, but it is enough. Just a, real good album. Of course, this is the Relapse, reissue, which, of course, uses the more white background and the but of course, this isn't, of course, the original Nuclear War Now Productions copy kind of just used this cover, but with sort of slightly different version of the Toxic Holocaust logo. But this is a good album. I really like this one. Definitely deserving of, number 5 in a way. But what was going to be at number 5, but got bumped up, ended up going to this. So coming in at number 4, surprisingly, Dr. Living Dead's debut album. Now, surprisingly, I haven't kept up a whole lot with this band, but I followed this band from their demo days, when they had their 2 demos released already, back in 2009, 2010. I was following this band, and basically their demos, as far as I know, they had originally had them for download through their website back in that day. Those days, and I downloaded those two, and man, I enjoyed the fuck out of them. Really solid, you know, basically they're kind of crossover, but they had a lot more of a metal sort of thrash feel to them, kind of like Nuclear Assault, or maybe mostly that I can definitely think of, mostly that, and of course our huge, you know, Suicidal Tendencies fans, just that. The lyrics, of course, is very, you know, similar, kind of, you know, very, you know, humorous, very inspired by movies and such like that, horror movies, action films, sci-fi films, you know, all of these, with some more tongue-in-cheek sort of stuff. Really, just a fucking, you know, good album. When they released this debut through High Roller Records, I had to get it, and when I did, they did not disappoint me. This is definitely almost much more of a thrash metal album, even though it has that crossover thing to it going on. It's very much influenced by the likes of Nuclear Assault. And of course, there is that Slayer Anthrax riff. And even at times I start on this album, I can hear a bit more of a Cro-Mags influence as well on here. Just a real solid album, and this is to me how you do a crossover album. This is more genuine crossover. It sounds like something that could have been released back in the 1980s. Could have been released through like Combat. Just that type of a feel to it. And I think they're much better than Municipal Waste, who I think try their best to be, you know, humorous, but I think come off as very kind of almost immature, while this one really just comes off real, you know, very naturally funny. But the riffs, though, are very aggressive. They come off very, you know, this is a fucking thrash album. Really solid, you know, thrash metal in a way. Just fucking killer in my view. And probably one of the best, you know, modern crossover albums that come out in recent years. Of course, again, I haven't kept up with their last two albums. I know they had released an album last year, but I haven't kept up a whole lot with them. But if they are just as good as this album, I'll definitely check out those two. Because this is a killer crossover thrash metal album, and if you are a fan of, like, you know, the aforementioned bands such as Nuclear Assault, Anthrax, and Cro-Mags, and, you know, just that crossover sound in general, you'll dig this album. Just a real solid album. Alright, so coming in at number 3. Now, this band I could have put their second album in here, but this one is just probably just as good as their second album. This, of course, is Death Hammer with Evil Power. Now, surprisingly, this isn't nearly as thrashy as their first album, but the thing is, I think the quality of the writing, I think, is just almost, they really progressed very much within writing. It's almost very Celtic Frost kind of feel to it as well. There is that Venom Bathory sort of feel to it, but there is a bit of a Venom feel to it as well. This is just a very almost black thrash in a way, not death thrash. To me, this is definitely what I would not consider death thrash. Their second album is very much that, but this is, of course, there is that sort of creator destruction type of feel to it as well. But this is just a solid album, in my opinion. There really isn't anything bad about this one. I know I've seen some that are not as much a fan of this one, but I dig this album quite a bit, and this is my list. I put it at number 3. It's a good album by Death Hammer. Now, finally, we're getting into number 2. Now, this is, when I got this album, this was such, probably this is one of the most unique thrash metal albums that come out in modern time, you know, in years. And to me, this is the reason why I in some ways, I think thrash metal is usually mostly good when it's made of younger people. It's basically the younger, the more, you know, I guess the more youthful. And this sound is as youthful as you can get when it comes to thrash. And of course, there's another Swedish band. There's, of course, Antichrist with Forbidden World. One of the most unique thrash metal bands that come out in modern times. And I know this is just, I don't know, you might say that Vector might be the most unique. I haven't really been that much into Vector as much as most. But this sound right here is just, this is a fucking modern classic. And I've said about that in my channel for quite a bit. This is a modern classic. Everything about the sound is very much mixes that Teutonic feel to it, but adding almost an epic heavy metal feel to it. It's like basically mostly with the you know, Necropolis or even the instrumental Minotaur. Wow. These guys were hugely influenced by Merciful Fate, but this though has that feel, but doesn't come off as a Merciful Fate clone in a way, at least when it comes to the track. Everything on the sound is just very demented, unique thrash, but there's fast moments, but Minotaur is one hell of an instrumental, knowing when to speed up and when to slow down. This is just epic. But the whole album itself is just real good. And apparently I've heard that they are going to be releasing, or are going to be releasing a new album as far as I know. And it would be their second album, because this is their first. And this was released back in 2011. So who knows how long they're going to release that new album, because it was basically, you know, mentioned last year. But good album, fucking killer. I really do hope that they put out that new album, because from the song that they have definitely released, wow. These guys definitely might end up giving Death Hammer almost a run for the money in terms of very originality, surprisingly, in terms of, you know, thrash. Now at number 1. This was definitely kind of tough to really think about what to have at number 1, but when it came to this band, this is the album that I think definitely deserved number 1. Now, technically, you might not think of these guys as a pure thrash metal band. Now, most of these other albums, though, might not be as pure thrash, but when it comes to modern thrash, these kind of, you know, really personify modern thrash, in my opinion. And this band might be definitely one of the best, you know, thrash bands to come out of recent times. Vomiter. Of course, Bleeding the Priest. This was their first album released back in 2002. These guys, though, while Death Hammer being very highly influenced by the likes of, you know, Destruction and Creator, these guys influenced by the likes of Destruction and Sodom. Very much that Sodom influence on the sound, while a bit more taken to more high, kind of get mixing a bit of that Celtic Frost feel to it. These guys always dub their, you know, music as death metal, and there is a bit of that, but it's more like death thrash type of feel with a little bit of blackness to it. But there is that sort of real punk, sort of real feel to it, kind of like the early Sodom stuff. Just real raw, very, just real gritty thrash. There is some blast beats that are definitely thrown into it, kind of like, you know, as far as that, more like what you expect in a way, probably from a little bit of death metal, but not as much. The way these guys are just really relying more on just just aggression in a way. There is some atmosphere thrown in that you'd expect with a bit of black, but they definitely tend to kind of mix it all up in a way. And I think Vomiter are one of the most unique bands that come out in recent times. Just a real good band. Of course, when it comes to Australia, you might think that maybe Destroyer 666 is better. I like Destroyer 666 from what I've heard. They are definitely pretty good, but I just spent more time with Vomiter, and these guys are definitely probably the most, probably next to Destroyer 66, like one of the most unique and one of the best, modern bands to come out in recent times. Just real good shit, and also anything about Vomiter, though, in my opinion, is fucking good. So that definitely is my top 5 list. You can agree to disagree with it. Of course, you can see any vector, but the thing is, this is my personal list, mostly based around what I listen to. So this is basically, my personal list. I could have done a whole, top 10 or top 20s type of list, but these albums, when it comes to, this is, of course, to me, when it comes to the best of modern thrash. Different from other people's views, but this is my channel, my personal views. So, with that, I'll definitely be back with another video, one that's probably going to be a bit more longer, who knows. But, so, until then, this is Heavy Thrash and Sam out. I'll see you later.